Here's this, and I would assume maybe, just maybe. I'm not a rocket scientist. This might be GG. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing two cards that you've probably seen before, being Kona and Yuna, and we're going to play them in the same deck. This is a thing I've seen a couple of times, and we're going to try it ourselves. Kona, if tapped on our second main phase, gets to put a permanent into play, and we got a lot of big juicy stuff in here. And for, you know, for some spice, we added Galta in here to kind of make some awesome plays happen. And then two of Yuna's. Unfortunately, we were only playing two instead of four like Kona, but you can't really go too overboard on these type of cards, or you'll find yourself clogged with them in your hand. But during our turn, we return an enchantment at our end step back to the battlefield, and that works incredibly well with how good these summons can be. But with that said, everything is in here to either find our combo or protect our combo in some way, like Voice where they can't cast stuff, or Dredge's Insight to put stuff in the graveyard and find them, or other station type effects to make sure Kona is entering tapped for the most part. With that said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games. Oh my, you do exist. Just been having one of those fun days where I never see this card no matter how hard I try. I guess we just go Dredgers, and then do Kona, I suppose. I guess I bring that in my hand. Obviously, if we rip a Yuna or something, we'd love to have it, but just no reason to do so. Preacher in our deck. Sure, I guess. Preacher's kind of mind-boggling here. Instead of Dredgers, I think I will go for the summon. Just because it will help us a little bit in terms of being able to be productive on the board. It's really weird. I want to go Kona here. Will they play Sephiroth? Probably. I just block. Just save face a little. I guess so. There's not really any instant speed sacrifice I could think of off the top of my head. Sure. So what do we go for here? I like have to answer this, right? They leave to shoot the sheriff. Sure. The mana doesn't matter. Bahamut seems the best because they're obviously going to answer that with shoot the sheriff, I would think. You would think anyway. Obviously Kona's a problem, but it wasn't like this. Yeah. $12. Then we can make a copy of it if they don't remove it. Because if they remove Kona, then we can just make a copy of our summon and then just blow up the entire board, right? Which is a weird thing. And then they shoot that, right? So then Arcona can be tapped and used again. Then we can make a copy of this as well. The only problem is I'm kind of dying. Doesn't really matter here. Let's just name Avatar. I guess we station here. Tap this. Is it Dredgers or am I copying Bahamut? Probably just copying, right? Yeah, let's just try to copy. Sephiroth popped. Pop and pop. Now it's just more or less about answering what we need when we need it, right? Obviously, I have so much damage on board. Amalia comes in, a lot of life to be gained. They will draw a card. I can confirm our deck does function if we do draw Kona. I will say I did do something really funny in which I built a deck and I named the deck Kona. and then proceeded to play the deck, forgetting to actually put Kona into the deck. I would never do that. It couldn't be me. We have a way to gain a lot of life here. And I don't know if they're really ready for the fact that I'm going to shoot a lot of their permanents here. Bitter Triumph comes in. Okay. They let my upkeep happen, which I think is a big mistake. You have ways to gain life, so it's fine. Let us Treasure's Insight. Esper Origin. Grab a Kona back. We want to grab a creature so we gain life, of course. And then this adds a green for each creature I control, but it requires a green to do, so it's 3. I guess we station first a Kona. Okay. Hello? Sure, Arena. I don't want to float mana in response. That's fine. Just 2 mana now. Just do this. We station Kona again. Then we go to combat for 18. Then we put in an Overlord. Raise to pass doesn't really have enough to do anything. Amalia might make everything explode, but then it doesn't have haste, right? I don't even think... Well, there's 3 Amalias, so I guess if they have a sack outlet... I guess if they had a sack outlet, what they could have done is they could play it. And then if they raised the pass, they would bring back 3 Amalias, and then 3 Amalias would die, causing me to probably die. Or 2, I guess, would die, maybe causing me to die. Just to know, though. Keep Cavern Bat. I'm going to take a look, which is fun. I get to draw 4 cards after this, by the way, which is pretty sick. My nose is so clogged. Why? Couldn't like unclog my nose, man. Main problem I think they're gonna have. All right, that's pretty good. I do think the main problem they're gonna have is I have like 18 in the air. That's before I draw 4 cards here. Okay. I can just cast this. Oh, because I named Avatar. Yeah. That's pretty funny. I would like to play this. We have protection now, so even Sephiroth won't happen. Might as well just tap Kona because it's a better outcome. And we just attack out. Again, Sephiroth can't do anything. Anything that is removed here, Sephiroth does not care. Do remember this block does cost them 2 life, by the way. Sure. Why did... Oh, because it was under the deep chaos. Like, why did the Overlord go back to my hand and killed it? Here. And then we can't play that, so we just Esper Origin. Gain a little bit more life. I guess voice is pretty good. We end turn. Reminder, as long as this is in play, we have protection. Heard that the Sephiroth deck's doing so well. They do have a removal spell though. So my life total isn't solved here. Good card. I got blown out by that card the other day. I got to like 20 and they shelter by ghost it and I couldn't beat it. Grant's a pretty interesting card to be playing. Also, if they play Hylia, or this card, right? We just have to assume that they don't play. I would assume we have to assume that they don't have anything else, right? Are they going for this route? Is that what they're doing? Can they get there? I don't think so. You can get it to 17. This is also a trap, by the way. If I don't block, they kill this, and then I take the damage. They have the bitter triumph. Oh, a trap. I know it. Sure. Yeah. Going first, our hand's a bit weird, but we'll keep. We have a way to go get Yuna and tap it. We have a way to fill our graveyard, or not Yuna, Kona. We have a way to fuel our graveyard, which is pretty sweet. Against a good old Godless Shrine. We go for tap land, play Kona. I don't know. Probably. I don't know how you beat a Knight of the round. Knight of round. Alright, we can do it that way. Or we play a card that does get us a land. We don't have to rely on playing this, which is pretty nice. We have 2 white already, so we'll station up. Orzhov is in play, so I can't imagine that afraid. 2 swamps means it's probably not blue-black, if I had to think. Could also be Yuna here if we draw an untap land. Lasher, okay. We don't actually have it in that regard. Yep. I mean, it dies next turn anyway, right? Sure. We're not gonna block regardless. Here's this one. Station. Remember that this is indestructible, so if they know where to run me, then sure, right? They have to know where to run to remove this, and then that's where Yuna comes in really clutch. Might be exactly what they do, and I lose half my life total, which would suck. But it is what it is. Or a shelter, I suppose. I don't get to do it. Maybe this was a bit aggressive. I could agree with that. Especially considering it didn't even do it, right? I said, don't get Kona. I think they just realized that that didn't work the way they thought it did. Mana value 2 or less. That is not 1 mana. Exile any permanent you wish. What? It had to be what they thought, right? Like, there's just no other... There's just no other way, right? So we have a way to tap Kona and make a copy of an enchantment. So, could do Yuna, but I don't think that's necessarily that great. I think we just... Oh, Yuna's actually on instep. This is great. Wait. Yeah, let's do this. Where are we going? Go first with this hand. I'm going to keep... Name Druid, I guess. I don't actually know which name is better. But I can Esper Origin here and then go for voice on 3. That in the yard. Also, let's put both those in the yard. I don't think we really need to do much else. Esper? For a voice here? Play the green lane down. I understand starting town will now enter tapped, but these were gonna enter tapped regardless anyway. Play around split up, I guess. Don't tap both our things. Now we're just like a Kona away from maybe getting some good value. Has to be mill if I had to put a name to it, yeah. How do I beat this? I really do not know. Just because it's so awkward to actually try to get around it. We just get board wiped and they mill half our library and then they play the permanent and we lose. At least in my mind. And there's Kona. So I guess it's hope that Day's not there. Hope that Day of Judgment's not here. Could be. I tapped the wrong permanent, to be honest. Earlier, when I tapped 4 for Kona, I probably should have used this, but let's see it. Alright. We have about a draw or two. Yeah. See it, brother. Sheriff has been shot. Oh, that actually resolved. Wow. I was not ready for that one. That's Origin. Obviously, they don't know our top card, but no reason to get Kona, right? And this, most likely there's a counter spell, so I'm just not going to play unit into that. Grab the voice. Tavern's named on Druid, Human Cleric. Do this just so you know. One card targets a player to mill. That I just thought about. It's interesting. So, if this is in play, they can't make me mill. You lost, sure. Does this remember what it was? Oh, it does. Okay. It remembers what the creature's power and toughness was. I wonder if you removed it, not counters, but like -4, -4 or something. What this would go to, because his toughness would register as less than that. What? It obviously has to be countered. Just waiting to get milled. I think this game is just over and it's not close. There's just not a whole lot I can do. We entirely rely on fighting the mid-range matchups, but I don't have anything impressive enough for Yuna to just win on the spot that way. Avatar Warrior. I go Yuna. The ward probably doesn't protect it. Try. I was right. The word does not protect it. We'll be dead. Yeah, makes sense. Trying everything we can. Might as well graveyard that. Sure. Pretty good one. The problem is if they board wipe me, they obviously get to kill that one over. I do have a visa. Okay. interesting spot to be in. What do I want to bring back? Go for Kona. I want to do it now. But I could just cast this too. But if they have a counter spell that just eats my whole hand. Let's go to combat for 7, I guess. Here. Let's do this. Really need those right now. 16 cards in our yard. Good one. Yep. I would like to choose the one that's currently a 7/7. I would like to grab a Kona. And it's legendary creatures, I think. But I'm at 30. Bees is obviously not going to end up winning the game by combat damage. Could have went for this, but it felt like they just had counterspell up and they were waiting for me to go for Kona. Play a second Biza for life and creatures, I guess. How are we here? I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really get it. A 7/7. Can I play this? Is this fine? Is this where the counterspell's at? I can't draw with it now, though. Sure. 18 cards. If I Dredger's Insight, I might actually lose because of that. So I don't really want to do that. Maybe I just have to. Or I guess I can just do this, right? Oh, I don't even get to do that. That's pretty funny. But it will give it trample, so I don't know. I don't have enough. I have 18 cards, so sure. How many cards I got left? 7. Good game. How I win that, I have no idea. We knew they had a counter spell. They kept leaving up 3, so if I went for the absolute, it felt like I was just going to auto lose. But I will say, even though we won this game, this is a matchup we'll be like 1 for 10, and that was the one. Sure. Going first here is pretty good considering we have piece 1 and piece 2. Just need some things to connect. Dredger's obviously on turn 2 is good. Play the Verge. We'll let him know. Storm Chasers, so it's Esper Bounce probably. So since I have a land, I'm going to wait on Dredgers, and I'm just going to play my Voice. And if they take their turn to remove this, then great, I guess. Maybe Dredgers is better, so I could have played the Summon. They seam rip here. Okay. Either way, I'm pretty okay with how this is going thus far. Landware Elves. Let's play here. I have a Kona. What a weird hand. What a weird option. It has to be Starting Town, right? Play Starting Town because if Landware Elves lives, we get to play Kona after playing this. If it doesn't, then whatever, right? Play your Cosmogrant. Stock up. That would suck. I would hate that. Obviously, we're joking. But Landware Elves on turn 3 is not the most impressive thing I've ever done. Sure. The other thing is, too, right? We just play this. We play the Summon. We go get a land. Clearly the Esper Bounce deck, so have it kind of wrapped up in a way. Yuna's very hard for this deck to beat. Or Yuna makes it very hard for them to beat us. white, green, primarily green, so we'll just grab a green. The unit coming in with ward makes it really awkward. Nowhere to run. Also, it doesn't answer it, so they have to have 2 phases of removal for it. They shock in a different land. Go here, bounce that, play that, sure. So I just go for Yuna. Actually, we do something really sweet here. This will have lifelink next turn because Yuna will be in play after combat. So we just let this happen. Oh. What if they're all in play? Thoughts? Here's a Kona. Comes in with a counter. We station Kona. I guess this won't have lifelink. I don't know, attack. Do Galta. Galta will trigger. We'll do Yuna in this. Go get a land. And then I guess we'll station here. And then we'll go grab good old boy. What do I want to get rid of? I'll just get rid of this. Yeah, all seems good. Seems fair. So we got dredgers to help us find our land. Looks like control again. Control is by far like the hardest thing. And I keep running into control even though artifacts is the most popular kind of deck. To be fair, we're just in this weird spot where... What? Maybe it's not control. But clearly. Is it flash, flyers, shelter, dredge? Alright. Here to here. Need a... We have green, white. Can be any color for that. So I guess just grab a green here. Then in case they play anything on the ground, we can obviously block that way, but... Alright. Most weirdly vulnerable creature I've ever seen. Now this is the problem where they actually will have counter spells and stuff now. We can check if they have one. Yeah. It'll be like counter unless I pay 4 or something like that, so it won't really matter. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's another flash creature. Turn. Has to be a counterspell, right? Dying to this one eagle. I have a cavern. No. I'm gonna play Kona in this. I'm just gonna play some creatures out. It can't be. It can't be, right? Like, that just can't resolve. I literally don't know what's happening. It is. What? I just don't believe it, dude. Also, look at our hand. It's like the only way we lose this is we have every expensive card in our entire deck in our hand. Even in our graveyard. Isn't that crazy? I can't believe they let that happen. That seems nuts. I have a creature back. We want to gain the life. What? What is happening, dude? Sure. I accept these conditions. All right. Well, I have the peak card here, so we're giving it a shot. I don't even care. We're going for it. If I get to Galta, put all these in, I'm fist pumping. In the mirror even. Elf, I guess. Origin. Gotta find a land. Voice can go. We find land. We play Landware Elf. And then maybe we'll be fine. This one? Or it's artifacts. I guess it might not be the mirror. Now that I think about it. It's more likely to be artifacts than the mirror. I would actually have this enter tap though, so I'm doing this. Sure. Deal. Might have split up, but that's okay. It is on top. We're probably gonna do Galta and just play everything. Oh, like we knew it. Here's this, and I would assume maybe, just maybe. I'm not a rocket scientist. This might be GG. Might be. Okay. I was like, it might be game. All right, now we got to talk about this deck in a weird light, and I think might grade this deck if I was to put it on a kind of a tier list, which I need to do one of those right now. It's just weird when VV is so clearly at the top and blue-black is just the only deck I would argue that is at the top but underneath. Could argue blue-white, blue-black are kind of on the same tier, but I think Demir is really, really solid in general. So it just makes it kind of hard for me to think like any deck can really do anything about it. But this deck I would probably put in B. I think it's not necessarily going to be the best deck for climbing of all time. It's not going to be the most dominant deck of all time. But it is really fun when it's working. But today started off very weird. It started off with me quitting. Like I just closed the client and took a break. Because, one, I didn't put Konas in my deck at first. I named the deck Kona, but I didn't search and find Konas and put them in my deck. So, I was just going through the top 20 in 2 games. And in the middle of game 2, I'm just like, I don't actually believe I put Konas in the deck. Went back, and surely enough, Kona wasn't there. And I had a lot of other nonsense in to fill out the deck. Like, Voice was up higher. And a couple of other these had kind of a higher count. But I just kind of cut some stuff and then put Konas in and moved on. So obviously the variations of cards might be a little weird, but this is where we settled. And the thing is VV, we don't really ever have a chance to beat. One, because it just shuts our Uno plan off with main board Agatha's Soul Cauldrons. So Uno's never really going to be able to reanimate anything good. And that just kind of sucks because, you know, when the best deck in the format gets to play 4 main board hate pieces for other decks in the format, it just makes it even better than what it already is. So that kind of sucks. But Kona is good in those matchups, but where Kona oftentimes struggles, and we have Caverns for 2, is it kind of just struggles against control. Like, sure, you do Kona, you do the nonsense, and then they just blow up the board, and that's why, like, Knight of the Round has to be in here, Knights of Round. Because I feel like the Indestructible is so important, and really Exile effects doesn't really matter that much. And Bahamut, this guy, this good guy, is really in here because this card best combats the best deck, at least in terms of best of 1 concern is, and Just Guy artifacts. At least that's what Untapped kind of says most of the time, like most popular deck played today, and then the highest win rate today is typically Just Guy artifacts, but this card blows up synthesizers and stuff, so that's why it's here. And it's also a 9/9, so their constructs have to be quite large to get through it, even though they definitely can be. But also, if this sticks around, we just get to do it again. And with this card in play, we can just make another copy of this because it's not legendary. So then we get to blow up something else, and then if both of them trigger, and then obviously we have 2 of these blowing up everything, and it's kind of goes a long way in those matchups. And then Knight around, obviously Indestructible, great, makes a lot of creatures and stuff like that. But this is the list. This is where we're at. I would put it at B. I don't know if I would say like this is the best deck for climbing, but it is pretty fun when it works. But it's pretty, you can go pretty south pretty fast when it doesn't. So keep that in mind. For the final kind of like look at it, I always do kind of the craft guide of what the kind of look of the deck would be, and there's a lot of mythics, which is scary. Like there's a ton of mythic. It looks like a lot more than what it actually is. There's 3, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, so it's not quite as many, but these lands happen to be mythic, so it is a lot more deceivingly. And then even Caverns are mythic, so be aware if you ever want to play a deck like this. But with that said and done, I hope you all enjoyed the video regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.